Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about 3D models and how to get one into Doom 2. When I first took interest in models and wanted to get one into the game, I found that there really wasn't a whole lot of information out there on the forums or the web that would describe exactly how to do it. And so after spending several hours and even days trying to get this figured out, once I eventually did, I decided I would like to put together a tutorial on this to make it easier for those out there that want to learn how to do this. Okay, so for the prerequisites here, you'll need GZDoom Builder, and I'm using a GZDoom version 4.5, which is a Team DRD development build, and Ultimate Doom Builder, which is also a Team DRD development build. I believe this version is version 3539, and also a modeling software. My particular favorite is Milkshake 3D. Now the scope of this tutorial is just to show you how to get a model into the game. I'm not going to go into drawing the model, creating it, or using the software to do that. It's just beyond the scope. The software, though, I will be using to just briefly view the model so that you can see what it looks like. There's a lot of 3D modeling software out there that you can use to make models, and they all have different levels of functionality. And but another thing to consider when choosing a modeling software is the type of format of model that you want to work with, and whether or not the software will support it. Now, Milkshake 3D is a easy to use, low poly mesh model design software where you can create models and import and export many of the formats used in many of the popular video games, such as Quake and Doom and Unreal and many others. So Milkshake 3D supports a variety of model formats that you can import and export with them. So for the purpose of this video, I'll just use the software just to show you the model that we're going to put into Doom. So let me open it up. Oh, before I do, I have my model here. It's a let's see, it's a MD3 type, which is one of the model formats that GZDoom supports, and it also has a material or image file, which is a JPEG image, which is also a format that GZDoom supports. Oh, I'd also like to mention that I borrowed this model from one of my favorite mods, the Wolf Blade of Agony mod by Realm667, which it's an awesome mod. Although it was too graphics intensive for my computer to handle for very long, I did find that the mod had some great models in it, and I wanted to use one of their models to figure out how to get it, how they got it into the game. So after a lot of time and reverse engineering, I figured out how to do it. So we've got our model and its textures, and so I'm going to open up Milkshake so that we can view this model real quick. So let's see, here's Milkshake. So I'm going to file, import MD3. I'm going to look at my desktop for the model, and I have a bar stool. Okay, so there's our model, only it doesn't currently have its texture to it, so we'll go ahead and add a texture to it. Let's see, I'm going to select my group here, and go to materials. So I'm going to just give it a default material, and then I'm going to locate its texture file on my desktop here. Let's see, bar, oh, I just passed it. That's the MM3. Where is my bar seat? There it is, bar seat. Open. So there's our material, and I'm going to assign it to my model group. Alright, so here is our 3D bar seat that I'll be showing you how to get into Doom. Okay, so this is the model we'll be working with. I'll go ahead and close this out. Okay, so we have our model and its texture file. Now the first thing we need to do is create a archive for our model. So I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it 3D bar 3D bar seat. Okay. Now I'm going to open up the folder, and I'm going to create a new folder in it called models, and I'm going to create another folder called maps. Alright, so the models folder is where we're going to store our model file and its material file or texture file. So I'm going to go ahead and take those from my desktop and I'll throw them in the folder. Okay. Now the maps folder is for when we create a map in Doom Builder to put the model in. We'll put that map in this folder when we're done. Okay, so the next thing we're going to need are the control lumps for this model. These lumps are what the game used to reference the model and define how the model acts in the game. So the first one we'll need is a, let's see, a new blank text document. And we want to call it decorate. Notice that the name of this text file is all caps. Originally in the Doom WAD file structure, the decorate control lump was all capitalized for a specific reason. So I'm just going to sort of follow that same idea here. Okay, so there's our decorate control lump. Now I'm going to create another one called model def, model defs, model def. Okay, and then I'm going to create another one, a new text document called textures. Again, all these lumps are capitalized. Okay, alright, so there we have our control lumps. Now we just need to add the definitions to these control lumps. Now to save a lot of time in the video, I went ahead and pre-wrote these definitions, so I'll just be copying and pasting them into these def files just to save some time. So let's look at the model def file. Okay, and now let's just add our definition to it. So model def. Okay, so there's our model def file. Okay, so basically what we have here is this says that the model is called bar seat, the model name, and that it is, its path is in the models folder. Okay, so in our archive under the models folder, it'll be looking in this folder for the model. Okay, and it'll be looking for Barstool MD3 as the model, and since the model has a skin, it will be looking for the bar seat 1 JPEG file. Okay, now these are just the scale of the model. Use actor pitch and actor roll are properties that will allow you to control the angle and the pitch and roll of the model when you place it in Doom Builder. Okay, Frame index. This basically says that the model sprite name is MDLA. I could have called it BRST for bar seat, but I just left it as MDLA, I guess for model A. So this is the sprite name. It says that it has one frame, an A frame, and then there's the frame index and even the frame number. And the frame numbers in case it had any animations, and if it did, there would be several of these with an increasing numbers for each frame of their animation. If you want more in-depth detail about what all these particular lines and the definitions mean, I would recommend going to the GZDoom wiki and look in the model defs section, and it will go into great detail about those definitions. Now, GZDoom wiki is a great resource for learning about Doom and GZDoom and modding, but it sometimes leaves out the finer details. In fact, I couldn't even find a tutorial about how to get a model in the game. So you can learn a lot from the GZDoom wiki. Here I'm showing the model def section where it talks about all of these properties of the model. Okay, so I would recommend taking a look at this. It gives you a lot of useful information. Okay, so that completes our model def. Okay, so now back to our archive. So we've got the model def done, and next we're going to do the decorate definition. Again, I've already had these definitions pre-written to save time, so I'm just going to copy them over. Okay, so here is our decorate definition. Okay, note that in the decorate definition, the actor's name is bar seat, which is the same name we gave it in our model def file as bar seat. I would recommend keeping the names the same. Okay, and this number represents a Doom editor number that you can use in Doom Builder to quickly call up the model. Now, also category models furniture. Basically what this line does is when you're in Doom Builder and you're putting this model onto your map, this model will appear in a directory structure in the things box. So this model will appear under a folder called models and a subfolder called furniture. The title will actually give the model a name in the Doom Builder software bar seat. Okay. Other than that, I've just got basic properties here for a very simple model. Basically just a static model. You're not going to be able to do much with it. It's just going to be sitting there on a map so that you can look at. And then this, it shows that the model has one sprite that it'll spawn with one frame that'll basically just stay there the entire time you're playing the game. Again, if you want detailed information for all these properties, you could look in the GZDoom wiki under their decorate page, and it can go into great detail about all of these properties. So that completes our decorate file. I'm going to save it. Okay, so we have our model def and we have our decorate def. Now the last thing we're going to need is our textures def. Okay, so let me go ahead and get that. It's already pre-done. Okay, so this is the texture definition, and basically what this file does, or what this lump does, is it gives Doom Builder a texture for your model in the builder software. Without this definition, you wouldn't be able to see your model in Doom Builder, and hence you wouldn't be able to put it on your map. But without this textures lump, you could still view this model in game, only you would have to call up the model, basically spawn it by using the summon command in the console to call the model. But what would be the point? So it's very important to have this textures file, and basically what it's going to do is it's going to tell Doom Builder to assign this default texture TNT1AO to the texture for the model. Okay, and again, if you want the very detailed information about what this line does, just look in the textures page of the GZDoom wiki, and it'll give you more detailed information on it. So that completes our textures lump. So just for a quick review, we have our bar seat archive, and inside it we have a maps folder, we have a models folder. In the models folder we have our model and our model material file. Okay, and then we have a model definition, okay, a decorate file, and a textures lump. Okay, so this is all the basic stuff you need for a simple model. Okay, so next thing we got to do is open up Doom Builder and create a simple room to put our model in. So let me close this out, and I'm going to start up Doom Builder. Okay. Now before I get started drawing our map, I need to add our bar seat archive to Doom Builder as a resource. Okay, so I go to Tools, Game Configurations. Now the map I'll be making is a GZDoom Doom 2 UDMF format map. Okay, now this might work with other formats like Doom 2 Hexen, or I don't think it's going to work with the Doom 2 format, but all my maps are in Doom 2 UDMF, so that's what I'm going to use for this tutorial. So I'll be making a UDMF map. Now I've got to add my resource to it, so go to add resource, and since our model archive is in folder form, to add it as a resource here, I'll choose the From Directory tab and find our archive on the desktop. Bar seat, there it is right there. Select folder. Okay, and then hit OK. So this is our 3D bar seat directory archive. Okay, there we go. So now we'll start a new map. It'll be called map 01, and hit OK. Now one thing that's kind of important is that you want to make sure that there's no errors that show up in the bottom right corner of the builder software. It might have a red triangle that says or a yellow triangle that says there might be any errors, and if you get one you might want to click on it and see what the error is. But in this case we don't have any errors, so everything looks good so far. So let me go ahead and start off by drawing a simple room. I'm not going to make it too big, probably just the 320 by 320. Okay, and let me give it a floor. Get a nice easy to use floor, easy to see things with. Try a, say, a marble floor. Okay, ceiling. Okay. Go ahead and get my textures done here. Yeah, we'll do a, there we go. Okay. go ahead and put in my player start. Actually, let me turn my textures off here. So I'll go to things, put in my player start. Okay, now one thing I must note is that when you're going to put a 3D model in Doom Builder, you might want to make sure that you have always show models selected. Otherwise your model might not be visible when you go to add it. So now that I've got that done, go back, I'm going to find my model. So if I scroll down, you can see that I have a models folder here and a subfolder furniture, just like it showed in the decorate definition for this model. And there's my bar seat. Okay, and then I could change its pitch and roll and all that. I guess it doesn't really matter what angle you set it to, it's going to look the same on all sides, but anyway. So here's our model. Okay, now I'll go into 3D view just so that we can see what it looks like. Yeah, see, there's our 3D bar seat. Okay, alright, so we've got it. Now I'll go ahead and I want to save this map into our maps folder in our model archive. So I'll go file, save map as, and I'll look on my desktop for the bar seat archive and I'll put it in its maps folder and go save. Now it's saved, so I'll go ahead and exit out. Okay, so if we look in our bar seat folder, we'll see that under maps we have our WAD. I generally like to just delete the DBS file, it's not really needed. Okay, so we have our map, we have our model files, and we have all of our control files. Okay, now you can basically just take this and drag it over GZDoom to test it out. Choose Doom 2 because we made this map for Doom 2, and then hit play. Now I'll give it a second to show up. Okay, here it is. New game. And voila, there's my model. Just a simple bar seat. I can jump on top of it, act like I'm sitting on it, and fall off. Now since it's a static model, it doesn't really do much. So there's our 3D model bar seat. Okay. Alright, so that's how you get a model into the Doom 2 game. Now one last thing I like to do here is I like to turn my archive into a PK3 type of file, which is recommended for distribution if you want to put your mod on the web. So let me show you how to do that real quick. Basically, I'll start WinZip. So I start up WinZip and hit close. And so what I'll do is I'll choose File, New Archive, and I'm going to give it a name. 3D bar seat, and be sure to put the .pk3 extension on it when you do this, okay, and then hit OK. So now you can see that I have my 3D bar seat .pk3. It's just an empty archive at the moment, so we've got to fill it up with our goodies. So I'll go over here to the 3D bar seat archive. I'll open it up, and I'll basically just highlight everything and click and drag them over into our PK3 archive. Now, it's very important that you make sure that you don't have save full path info checked or include system and hidden files checked. You don't want any of those checked. And then you hit add. And you'll know you've done it right because when you look at the paths, you'll see that our map 01 is in the maps folder, like it shows here. Our bar stool and bar seat files for our model are in the models folders, and there's no subfolders before these folders, because if there were, then that means you had one of those options checked for the file paths. Okay, so when it's done correctly, it should look like this. And then I'll just go close, and when I close it out, it created a bar seat PK3 right here. So now if I were to take this and I drag it into GZDoom, it'll work just like the folder archive directory did. So I should just be able to play it. We'll play the game. So we'll wait till it goes into the game here. And here it is. Oh, voila, there's my bar seat from its PK3 file. Alright. And that concludes this tutorial on how to get a model in Doom. One more thing I want to show you though is all my favorite models that I borrowed from Wolfenstein that I put together in a showcase here in my 3D model showcase wad. Let me show you this real quick. Yeah, so this has some of my favorite models that I borrowed from the Wolf BOA mod that I put into the game. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Oh, look, the clock. It's chiming. Now there's this clock. It tends to chime sometimes, just at random. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. And some of them are interactive, like this piano. If I hit use, okay, I'm going to play some music. Let's go look at this skeleton over here. Kind of creepy looking. That's pretty nice. I gotta shut it off though. I got another one over here. This is a bar seat, but this one's actually destructible, so let me see if I can waste it real quick. And then this one here's a gramophone. This one's an animated type of model as well. You can see the disc rotating on it. I'm gonna turn it on. Oh, that clock's chiming again. I love that clock chime. Oh, of course, this one's also destructible, so let me shoot it real quick. Yeah, so these are some of my favorite models that I borrowed from the Wolf Blade of Agony mod. Well, I hope you enjoy this tutorial, and yeah, good luck. Happy Doom modding.